So Mel, today we are doing the old school video game vlog. I hope you brought your games.
I did. I went to GameStop and I heard about this really good old school game called Devil May Cry. I was like,
I love that series.
I know. So I went and I bought it and I was like, it was so good. The graphics were so good for those times. I don't even know what they were thinking.
Really?
We're going to be talking about our top 5 games that are basically old school, not PlayStation 3. 2 of ours overlap, actually. That's how great friends we are.
Don't spoil it.
Sorry.
But yes, we do a lot of our vlogs on sort of like old school this, old school that, so we thought we actually going to talk about the games that we used to play when we were growing up, especially because after E3 there were a couple of videos, on like the booth babes and whatnot and hot women of E3, and then apparently everybody's favorite old school video game is Mario Kart, and we want to actually bring something else to the table and say, no, Mario Kart is not our favorite old school game. Spoiler alert. And without further ado, please start.
I did mine. I didn't do mine in any order because I couldn't choose. Because I love them all. But I just did them in alphabetical order. So I'll tell you which ones overlap with mine. With her. I'll tell you which ones overlap with her. So first we're going to start with A. So for Aladdin. Huh? I know, spoilers. Aladdin. Disney's Aladdin. Okay, I'm going to start and say that I love Disney everything when it comes to games. I guess it's because I was a child and my parents were like, Disney, that's okay. She's not going to see any violence in Disney, whatever. I don't care. But Aladdin is one of my favorites because, I'm not going to lie, I love Jasmine. She's the closest thing I can get to a Disney princess.
You look like her.
I do. I wish. Or Pocahontas. I'll deal with whatever. But I loved Aladdin. I don't know. I just loved it. I played so much. I just love magic carpet rides, hot coals. So stereotypically Aladdin, Middle Easterners. We can't walk over coals, and we have magic carpet rides, and we like to eat apples to gain energy, and and swords are always thrown at us.
Number 2.
Number 2 is both of our favorites, and this is how we knew that we were going to be best friends. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
For NES.
Yes, for NES. I forget. Not number 2. 2 was okay. I liked the first one first. I love this game because I could play it by myself, or I could play it with somebody else. And usually that was my little sister.
Because we didn't have friends. I mean...
Spoiler.
Sorry.
And I don't know. I loved playing with her because I was a very manipulative child, and I was like, okay, I'll let her play, but if you're slow, you're gonna die. So I'd always play Chip. I'm always Chip. Like, even in this relationship, I'm Chip. She's Dale. I don't care what she says. It's true.
I came to live with that. And I'm okay with it.
But she, back in the day when you couldn't go, like, if you were in the beginning, in the front of the screen, and she was at the end of the screen, if she was taking a long ass time, you couldn't go forward. So I'd get pissed as a kid and just throw my apples at her until she died. And she'd be like, stop it, Chip, stop it. I'm like, no, Dale, you're going to die. But then, as you progress, they come back to life. And I'm like, God damn it.
We're going to kill her all over again.
Yeah, why did you like it?
Oh, it's actually one of the only NES games that I remember playing, and I played it so much, and I don't know, it was so much fun. Those were my childhood memories, but just sitting around with NES and just trying to beat it. It was frustrating at some point, but I don't know. I didn't have anyone to play with, so I did play.
You were forever Chip.
I was forever Chip, yes. So I don't know. I never had that 2-player experience, but I don't know. I played it so much,
and it's still fun to this day. Like, I honestly use my phone as an emulator. Because I'm a nerd.
Oh, yeah, I had that on mine, but it's so hard
It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because there's no buttons.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so, the next one, my number 3, is, this one called Fighting Force. I used to play it for PlayStation 1. And, it's not the best game. I'm not gonna lie. But it's a game that you can play with other people or yourself. I just love some aspects of the game. Like, you could. My favorite part was you could beat up a Coke machine, get Coke, and then get energy. Like, that's how your health went up with Coke. Like, okay, that's awesome. Or you can see like a railing. And they pull the railing, and you can beat someone with that rail. Like, that is awesome.
Game of the year. Right.
And you can choose from 4 characters. And I love the aspect that you can be either 2 men or 2 women. Like, you know, men are huge and like take forever, but they're stronger. You know, but the women are like agile. They can always do some crazy ass martial arts or something. But I like that aspect of it. And honestly, I didn't have this game. I think because my parents probably thought it was too aggressive. Yeah.
I wonder why.
I know, right? So actually, I always played it when I went to this friend's house. And I say friend loosely because I hated their guts. I hated them. I hated the brother, the sister, the mother, the father. Like, I hated everyone. I still to this day don't even speak to them. That's such a nice child, right? But I would go to their house just to play this game because I loved it. So, and the next one that's on our list alphabetically is Mortal Kombat 3. Now, we both like this one. And to be honest, it's not my favorite Mortal Kombat because I love Mortal Kombat. Love it. So it's like my favorite fighting one. So if I had to choose, but this one is my old school favorite one. And for me, it's because I played that in Iran visiting my family. And for the months that I was there, we'd play it nonstop on this ghetto-ass console. It was no console like I've ever heard of. I don't know if they made this themselves or if it was some foreign country thing, but it was so much fun.
Bootleg.
Probably bootleg, yeah.
So who's your favorite?
Actually, in that game was Sindel, which is really weird because I hate her in every other one.
So what is overall Mortal Kombat?
Overall, Kitana. I'm a very much girl player game, like, for Mortal Kombat because I can show I can kick ass as a girl. But the exception being Deadly Alliance for PlayStation 2. I did the whole, like, SubZero Scorpion thing. I love that for that game. But other than that, I was always girls. Girls rule. What about you?
So yeah, SubZero definitely was my favorite. I used him all the time. I did use Sonya a lot because I liked her leg kick thing. Scorpion was cool, but I was like a SubZero. I just love freezing them and just like, you know, that was my thing. So, and Johnny Cage, I used Johnny Cage.
To this day, she still gets in the splits and punches people in the crotch. I've seen it. I've seen it.
So I think it was SubZero, then it was Sonya, then it was Johnny Cage, and that was my trio through all Mortal Kombat.
And I just remembered the thing I loved about Mortal Kombat 3 was they brought in the combat code. We would just like combat code the shit and cheat a lot of stuff. Like, I just loved that. And we would just make one up. Like, I wonder if this is a combat code because we didn't have the internet to be like, oh, I wonder. Let's Google this. No, there was no Google, right?
No.
When did Google exist? Anyways.
2000s.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 4, right? So my 5th one is Tiny Toon Adventures. I'm telling you, man, I'm like the child in this relationship over here. I don't know. I just liked girls being kidnapped by people and then me saving the day. Like
Mario.
Like Mario, but everyone loves Mario. But Babs, that little douchebag girl, always bunny, you know, got kidnapped, and then so I had to save her. But I don't know. To this day, I even like playing Tiny Toon Adventures on the emulator as well too. It's just something I like. I don't know. It's kind of like Aladdin. You're just like, you like it. I like it. Okay, now what are the was it 3 that you? Totally different from mine. Totally different from mine.
Totally different. So, again, my 1 through 4 are not rated. I do have the number 1 favorite game, and to this day it is. So, obviously, as you've mentioned, it's Mortal Kombat and Chip and Dale, and we already got that out of the way. Next one is the Need for Speed series. And it's kind of hard to have a favorite there, at least for me, because they used to update it so much, and I think they still do release them like all the time. Could be wrong about that. I haven't Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I played all of them up through Underground, and I think Underground was the last one I played. And after that, I kind of fell off this series. I really don't follow it anymore. I know they had a new one not that long ago. But anyway, so going back, as I said, I've played all of them. We had the whole setup where you had, the wheel, and then you had the gas pedals and whatnot. So I spent a lot of my childhood behind the wheel, which is ironic because I don't drive in real life, and I actually don't want to drive in real life. I don't know how that works out. But yeah, it was just so much fun. And I think the reason I actually stopped playing that series after Underground was that's when I sort of transitioned from PC to console. So yeah, before I forgot to mention, I was first a PC gamer and then I became a console gamer, and I want to go back to PC eventually, but that's another story. So when I went, after the Underground, I tried it on the console, and it just felt weird, after you spend so much time with a keyboard or your setup, I don't know, I just sucked at it and it wasn't as fun. It wasn't what I was used to, so I stopped. But altogether, just loved every single game they had, and yeah.
On that note, I was not a PC gamer. I was a console player, and I actually didn't play a lot of PC games because I just did not like playing on the keyboard. I like my hands being on the controller. And it's still to this day, I'm not a good PC player. And I have a Mac. I'm not gonna lie, I have a Mac now, so yeah, I'm acceptable.
So moving on to the other one is the Age of Empires series. And of course, the second one was my favorite, and I spent so many years of my childhood again building up, my armies and taking over the world. And for those of you who don't know what that game is, it's fantastic. It's a sort of like strategy, kind of like Total Rome and all those games. You start out with nothing, and then you sort of build your city, build your army, and then you go take over other nations, and it's that kind of game, and it's just so much fun. I believe they have an HD collection of it, or they're coming out with an HD collection. Don't quote me on that, but if it's something you're interested in, you should definitely look into it. It's a great game. I would love to play it again now if I had a PC, but I have a laptop, unfortunately, for now.
But it's not Mac.
It's not Mac, no. And my number one favorite game, and this one is ranked, and it is probably the one I spent the most time playing, was Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Now, I played all of them through 3, and after that on the 4th, they really changed the format. They changed the game altogether and just really hated it. So 1 through 3 was great, and third one was just my favorite. And it's a little bit different than Age of Empires because this one is sort of like a turn-based one, so it gives you a little bit more time to think, to think through your moves, etc. But it's you're sort of, you have your castles, you have your army, you build it up, you go take over other castles. Obviously, you see a very pattern going on, but this was more fantasy-wise. So you have your dragons and you have your mermaids and etc. So it was very fantasy-like. It's so great. It was kind of like, I don't know, World of Warcraft, but more in a 2D strategy-based kind of, but it still had the whole huge world. And fun fact is, the third one, I don't know if the other ones did, but I know the third one came with a map creator / map editor. And me and my dad used to play so much that we beat every single level, every single campaign on all difficulties. So I, being this little tiny kid, started making maps for my dad. And they were huge detailed maps with underworld and portals and all this crazy stuff. And I knew the stuff that he liked. So I would put it into the map, I would test the maps, make sure everything worked. And then the cutest part was my dad actually played them. So I just, thinking back, I'm like, wow, my dad was really cool, because here's his little kid is making him these super maps, and he's actually playing, and we would sit together while he would play them, and I thought that was really cool. And when I was in undergrad, moving forward, many years forward, I actually found the CD, and I was like, what, let me just go play that for old time's sake, and I loved it just as much. I killed so much of my college time playing that game, and it's great. And I'm very disappointed that 4 just wasn't the same anymore. But that is my number one favorite game. And of course there's other games that I like Legend of Dragoon. I do like it. But I feel like RPGs are sort of in a different category where, for example, Final Fantasy IX is my favorite Final Fantasy of all times. But I've only played it twice in my life. Like, I would go back and play it again. But it's hard to compare that versus something that I've literally spent years playing. So there are games that I like, but they just didn't make the list for that particular reason. Because I wanted to put the games that I really killed my childhood on.
Right.
Instead of having friends and playing outside, I was behind that computer screen.
Yeah.
Playing with my keyboard. So I think that concludes today's vlog. Please let us know what kind of games you grew up playing, and whatever you feel old school is, because we've obviously been playing since like 92, 93, so we're super old school, at least for our age. I'm sure there are gamers who are like, we didn't even have consoles, we were like older.
We're playing Pong, on the computer, back in the day.
So whatever you feel old school is, if it's PS3, you probably should not be listening to us because we have a lot of inappropriate material. But, whatever it is, please let us know in the comments. We would love to read. Or, the games that you hated, because those are always fun to remember too.
Yes.
And with that,
like, comment, subscribe, share.
Favorite.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Keep gaming.